I know, this video is super long, but if you stick to it and you watch the whole process of how to make Anki work for you, believe me, at the end of this video you're going to be a master of using Anki. And if you stick until the end of this video, you're going to get a gift from me to you. So let's start. ¿Qué demonios es Anki? Well, picture this. Traditional flashcards, yes, those handy little paper notes we all write on, but on steroids. Anki isn't just any flashcard system, it's an intelligent flashcard system that uses something called an s.r.s, or Spaced Repetition System. Now, you might have heard of Quizlet, Memrise, or Duolingo and think that they are great at what they do. And at some point they are, but beyond a limit, they are not the best option. They all use some sort of s.r.s, but Anki isn't just part of this group of programs. No, it's the grandmaster, it's the OG or the godfather of the intelligent learning tools. And guess what? I am here to tell you how to use it so you can take advantage of Anki and learn more Spanish or any other language you want to learn. You may ask why Anki is better than the other options. Well, Anki is a one-trick pony.
You're in!
You were the amazing!
You can bunk with me, dude.
So good, so fast.
Yeah, and I say no. He's a one-trick pony.
It performs that trick really well. Unlike the other applications that they try to do all these massive things, but they don't really achieve one, Anki just does one thing. It has this incredible ability to figure out what you're really good at, what you are like meh at, and what you kinda suck at. And every time you get into Anki, Anki throws you those tricky concepts that you struggle with more often, and then in between it sprinkles in the concepts that you more or less know, and finally occasionally throwing you the ones that you know really well. So it's like having a personal trainer for your mind, constantly pushing you to like flex those mental muscles. And here is the extra part. Anki is free. Yeah, it is free. Free and fantastic. It's like the ultimate weapon in your arsenal for conquering Spanish or any other language you want to learn. Anki isn't just like passive learning. No, Anki is about transforming your passive into an active adventure. Now, how do you set up Anki so it works perfectly aligned with your goals? First thing, you have to download Anki. Go into Google and click on Anki. Click on the very first link, that's the one. Don't download any counterfeit program. Just click on it and you're going to be taken to the Anki's website. Click on download. You can read all that thing, but just click on download. This website detects what you have. You can have a Windows computer, you can have a Mac computer, Linux computer, and so on. Now, Anki is free on Windows and on Mac. Linux is also free. When it comes to Android phone, well, Android users rejoice. It is free also on the Android phone. But when it comes to the iOS devices, well, it is a pay application. So, is it worth it? Very much. Because by that tiny cost, you can sync all your devices and you can start studying on your computer and finish studying on your cell phone. So it is worth the investment. But for this first thing, just download it on your computer. So I have a Mac, I'm going to download the Mac version. So it's just being downloaded. And once you install Anki, the very first thing you're going to see is going to be this screen. Okay. Anki by default does not come with any pre-made resources. You have to provide that material so Anki does its trick. Now, there are three types of decks that you can create or you can have in Anki. The very first one is the one that you create. The second one is something called a shared deck. And the last one is what I like to call a specialized deck. So I'm going to explain all the three. But first, let's start with creating a deck. First thing you need to do is create a deck and name it. So I'm going to put here Anki tutorial for this deck. Notice that the default disappears and you get this Anki tutorial name. You click on it and it's going to say like, you have finished this deck for now. Well, I don't have any card yet, but we're going to add some cards. You're going to click on add, and the very first thing you have to do is select basic, if it's not selected already for you, into the type of deck. When you create a deck in Anki, you have 3 types of cards. Those 3 types of cards are basic, basic and reverse, and cloze deletion. So I'm going to explain you and show you how those ones can help you, which ones don't really help you that much, and how you can make one the option for you to learn. Basic is literally that. It's like having a physical flashcard, the one that you write on a digital format. You have a front, you have a back, and on the front you have something. So let's write apple. Obviously in the back you're going to write manzana. Okay. Once you add your card, you close it and you study that card. So there you have apple, and if we click on show answer, you have manzana. All right, in a moment I'm going to explain how to use these 4 buttons. As for right now, we're just going to have on clicking on again every time. Now this is literally the first type of flashcards, apple, manzana, and that's it. Many of you like making these physical flashcards. I used to do them back in 2007, more or less. I did hundreds of these physical flashcards until I realized that the only problem with these physical flashcards is that you have to carry all the flashcards into wherever you go, right? And you have to decide if you carry this bunch or carry this other bunch. Well, if I had known that Anki can do this thing on my phone or my iPod at the moment, well, I would have done them in that case, because, well, it's less of a burden to carry with one device than carry with hundreds of cards. At the very end of the day, this type of flashcard is not the one that you want to use, unless you want to learn concepts of colors or numbers or the faces of your colleagues. Only for like 100 items would be useful, not for language learning. So if you're watching this video, don't make flashcards like that one for language learning. I'm just explaining it so you know the fundamentals of Anki. Now let's dive into the second type of card. So let's add another card, but now we're going to change the type into something called basic and reverse card. Nothing changes, as you can see the layout is the same, but now we're going to say that you have a dog, and I know you know what dog is in Spanish. That's a perro. All right, you're going to add it, and notice that now Anki says you have 3 cards, but we have only created 2. All right, this basic and reverse, this is the Apple word. Let's just click on again. Does one thing, and it's kind of like the superior version of the basic type of card. Why? Because on the very first time you see that card, it's going to say dog on the front, perro in the back, obviously. But then the next card is going to be perro in the front and then dog on the back. So what it does better than the basic option is that it creates 2 cards instead of 1. So you can have this testing of knowledge on, do you know the English word, but do you also know the Spanish word? So at the end of the day, if you say, Carlos, I'm going to be making this type of cards, better do the basic and reverse instead of just the basic. But if you want to really learn a language and you say like, I'm going to invest on making my Anki deck, well, I recommend you to use cloze deletion. Let's do a cloze deletion card. Now you're going to change this type and choose cloze. The cloze only changes the text. It says text instead of front and back. What the cloze deletion does is that it hides the word that you're testing out. It puts it behind like a curtain of knowledge, right? So let's say that you put the word, I don't know, like grapes. All right. And then you might think, oh, well, I'm going to put grapes and then I'm going to put uvas here and that should be the card. No. Cloze deletion has one advantage, and that advantage is that you should be putting a sentence. Why a sentence? Because a sentence contains more information than just one word. If you're hiding one word of that sentence, then the rest of the sentence help you to master that one word. Hence, you have context. Cloze deletion cards must be done upon context. The context is the sentence, and the sentence helps you to master the concept that is hidden. So you're not only going to write grapes, no, you're going to do it correctly. You're going to write a sentence that says, yo como uvas todos los días. All right? I eat grapes every day. But you want to learn the word grapes. So what you have to do for the cloze to work is that you're going to select uvas, and then notice that you have all these icons above. Don't mind the rest of them. Just click on the one that has the brackets with the plus, and Anki does this trick. And it says, yo como, some sort of coding, uvas todos los días. And you add your card. And then when we study this card, well, this is the Apple one, the basic, then the basic and reverse. And now you have the cloze deletion one. And notice that the word uvas is hidden, right? And now you have to think what the answer is. So it's a little bit more active than just seeing the word apple and then thinking manzanas and then having the answer. This is cloze deletion. But you're in this video because you want to really master Anki and you really want to improve on your language learning. And this type of cloze deletion is what you see in all the videos, in all the other videos on YouTube. This is what they explain you that cloze deletion is, and it's not. Well, it is cloze deletion, but let's sprinkle some steroids on it, all right? Now, first problem we have with this cloze deletion is that you don't have an input, right? You just see the word, and if you know the card, you know that you're going to put uvas. But if you don't know how to write uvas, if it's with a B or a V, how can you get tested with that thing? Well, for that one, this is what you're going to do. You're going to make a card like that, and then you're going to click on browse, all right? First thing you're going to do is never do the dog and the apple type of cards. So let's delete them. Now, we only have now the cloze deletion. You're going to click on your cloze deletion sentence, and then you're going to click on this part that says cards. And it's going to prompt you with this new screen. And this is the coding part. But don't be afraid, I'm not a professional coder either or programmer. You don't need to do any special coding. I'm going to be leaving the code in the description below. You just copy it and paste it. All right, first thing you're going to do, you're just going to put in the front template one, below the cloze text code, you're going to put type cloze text, and you save it. Once you do it, voila! Now you have a typing box where you can type your answer. Cool, isn't it? Not only now you have to know that it's grapes, uvas, but you have to type it correctly. So let's type it uvas, and there you have. You put uvas as the answer, right? But what happens if I put uvas with a V? Well, nothing happens, right? Nothing really happens. Anki doesn't provide you with that feedback, but there is a way we can provide you with that feedback. Once again, you're going to go to browse, you're going to go to cards. Once again, you're going to be prompted with this screen, and you are going to copy and paste. Also, the code is going to be on the description, but not in the front template. You're going to put it on the back template. You're going to put the whole option. Cloze text, type cloze text. The same one as before, basically. You're going to click on save, and then now it's going to show you the answer and what you had wrong. So let's put uvas, but with a B instead of a V. Because, well, you know the pronunciation, but you don't know the answer. So there you have uvas. Anki is telling you, well, you had this one typed out, but it should have been this one. So now you have instant feedback, and that instant feedback serves you as to how to answer the card. All right. But before we go into that one, let's step up a little bit more onto these, well, cloze deletion options. Notice that in this card you have yo como something todos los días. We know that is uvas or grapes because we have made the card. But what if it wasn't uvas? How will you know that it's uvas and not bananas or watermelon or coffee or whatever, chocolate, right? Because it could literally work, yo como chocolate todos los días, and if you put chocolate, well, Anki is going to say like you just guessed correctly the A, right? But no, how do you know? How does Anki can give you that hint that is uvas, right? Well, once again, click on browse, and this time you're not going to go into the cards section, you're just going to go into your text. And this is a thing that you have to do manually. There is no other way around. You have to click after the word uvas, put 2 colons, and then write the word grapes. Just by doing this thing, Anki understands that that's the hint you want to get. And now when you have the card, you see, yo como grapes todos los días. So you cannot make the mistake of putting chocolate. Now you would know that is uvas. Oh no, I made a mistake once again of a B for a V. Alright? Once you get it correct, Anki is going to say, you did it perfectly. And there you have. So cloze deletion provides you with more benefits than just the basic or basic and reverse card. Cloze deletion has context with the sentence. You have to input the answer, and you cannot get the wrong answer because you have a hint on your own language. Do not have the translation there just yet because it's not going to be helpful. It should show you first the word in Spanish. Now, how to answer with Anki? Because like I said, you have 4 buttons in the bottom of the screen, and you have again, hard, good, and easy. How does this work? Well, you have again with the number 1M, that means 1 minute. Hard, 6 minutes. Good, 10 minutes, and easy, probably you guessed it, 3 days. All right. The way you answer is the way Anki works, right? The feedback that you provide to Anki is how Anki assigns a value for that word or that concept or that card to be shown later. So if you were about to hit again, I'm going to be shown the card once again, right? If I hit hard, it's going to take 6 minutes not using Anki, or probably 6 minutes learning some other words, and then in the 6-minute mark, Anki is going to show me this card. 10 minutes is the same, easy is going to be the same. Now, how do you answer? Anki has 4 buttons, but I don't want you to use the 4 buttons. Why not? Because the only flaw that Anki has is you, the human. Yep, that's it. Anki does one thing, right? It shows you the words in this precise moment when you're about to forget them. But it depends on you to provide feedback to Anki on how well you're learning those words. So my advice is, don't think of 4 options, because then you're going to have a hard time deciding, should I click on easy? Oh well, I click uvas with a V or a V, but I knew it was uvas, so that's hard or that's good. I don't know which one is that. No, you're going to go with only again and good. Again for I miss it, I did it wrong. Good for I did it correct. And if you think about it, why would you make a card that you click on easy, that you know it pretty well, doesn't really have a point. So you're going to click always on good or just on again. That's it. All right. Omit the hard button, omit the easy button. There are other plugins that you can install to get rid of these buttons. Once again, leave me a comment if you want to know how to install this plugin that gets rid of the hard and easy button, and also this plugin that is a heat map. If you want to know more about them, leave a comment below and I will make a video on how to do it. But as for right now, remember, you just have to answer with again or good. Okay? That's how you create your deck. Creation of a deck is the best option, right? Believe me, it's the best option of how to use Anki. But then there are these other versions that are called the shared decks. Let me show you what a shared deck is. one deck left that we cannot use. All right, let's use the best one with the most cards, because for some reason people think that using the most cards, the decks with the most cards are going to be the best. It's not the case, believe me. But let's get into these 9,000 Spanish sentences. It is 9,263. It is in Spanish and in English. It has audio. Nice. This is what I have been looking for, you might think. So how do you download it? You click on download and it's going to be downloaded. And then how do you open it? Well, you just click on it and Anki automatically imports the deck. It's importing the 9,263 cards. And there you have your new deck. By default, it has 20 words to learn every day. Let's use it, right? So you click on it and it says, nice, it has cloze deletion, even better, right? But it says, te something una luz roja. All right, it has the English down below. So notice, what I just told you, not everybody uses it, right? This guy who made this deck could have put ran inside that cloze deletion, but he didn't because he didn't know. But you know now how to use it, so you can make better Anki flashcards. Now it says below difficulty 4,583. What does that even mean? And well, I suppose I'm supposed to not write because there is no writing part here, but I'm supposed to know ran, which is not a basic verb from the basic A1, A2, right? It's past. But which past is it? Is it preterite? Is it imperfect? Is it present perfect? Pluscuamperfect? Which one is it? You don't have a hint, all right? So when you click on show answer, it's going to show you te pasaste una luz roja. There is an audio that you cannot hear, but te pasaste una luz roja is what it says. And that's it. Remember, use answer with again and good. But there is no order. I suppose the next guy is going to be easier. Ellos started, once again past. Alright, so ellos empezaron a pelear and the difficulty is not rated, so it's not based on frequency. So this deck, you may think, is awesome. It might be awesome if you are a B1 student because you start with past, something that you might be struggling with. But if you're a basic student, don't use these decks. Why? Because they are not really going to help you. And if you're going to be downloading 10 decks, believe me, it's not going to be useful. Why is that? Let me show you one more thing. There is a plugin. Once again, if you want to know how to install it, you can just leave me a comment. It's called Anki Simulator, okay? What Anki Simulator does is that you load the deck that you want to check. And let's say that you study 20 words per day because you're really consistent. You just want to learn a lot of Spanish early on, and you're going to be doing it for a whole year. So let's see what happens in this case. This is how your simulation is going to look like. On the very first days, you're going to be learning with 20, then 47 words you're going to be reviewing. But every day that passes, you're going to be learning and reviewing more and more and more and more and more and more. And even until the end of the year, 2025, you haven't even finished learning this deck. So let's say that you study for 1,000 days. All right, now we have the breaking point. You have to study this deck every day, learning 20 words, studying it every day. And by the last days, you will have to be studying or reviewing, in reality, 271 cards, which roughly equivalent to something between 30 to 45 minutes on my experience, because that's normally the average words that I review every day. So it's going to be between that, 270, 280. So it's going to be that maximum until the breaking point on the day August of 2025, right? And up to that point is when you start decreasing your amount of frequency words. Now, are you going to be consistent for more than a year, every day doing it? If that's the case, then probably this deck is for you if you're a basic student that is in the A2 level, right? But if it's not, you're not going to go really far because your motivation is going to drop early on when you have to spend more than 30 minutes every day. So these decks, even though they have a lot of cards, they are not really the best option. Which takes us to the third type of deck, and that is what I call a specialized deck. Specialized deck is a deck that someone made, of course, but that person had a type of user in mind, right? Whether that person made an advanced deck for advanced students, intermediate for intermediate, or basic for his basic students. Those specialized decks, unfortunately, are not really famous in Spanish, right? In Japanese, for example, we have a lot of them. People have a great community in Anki for Japanese, and they create these great decks for Japanese. But when it comes to Spanish, it's like so weird to really have those kind of decks. I have created some of them, keeping in mind the type of student that it should be addressing. So let me show you what a specialized deck looks like. Okay, let me show you how to get my decks. So you're going to go into the browser once again, and you're going to go into hellospanish.me. That's my website. You can check it out. You can find a lot of information, but we're going to go into Anki decks. And here is what an Anki deck website looks like. You might find that I have a 1K, the most complete Mexican Spanish deck, and I have a couple of them like reflexive verbs, most common 100 verbs, por and para, prepositions, adjectives, defined versus undefined, articles, s.r.s, and well, this one, that's a bad word, but it's coming soon. Well, what is this deck? The 1000 most common Mexican Spanish deck. This is a specialized deck. And how does a specialized deck look like? Well, it looks like this. Let me import it into Anki, and I have done it. Let's click on it, and then you have this. Read the description, because it's not only just using it, you have to use it in a particular perfect way. So let's start it. Right away, you can see that this deck doesn't look like the shared decks already, right? It has the word here, but there is no typing section, because the specialized decks must be based on always one goal in mind, and not all the goals into one, because they're not going to be addressing the big issue here. So this deck, my 1000 cards deck, addresses the problem of learning vocabulary, but not just any vocabulary. It addresses the problem of cognates versus non-cognates. The difference between 1000 words and 9000 is not just the number, it's that those shared decks with 9000 words, they're going to be trying to teach you all the words. But if you think about it, you already know some words. You know words like, for example, importante, which in English is important. When you see the word importante in context, you don't need to create a flashcard of that word, because English and Spanish share some similarities, and those words are called cognates. When you see the word importante, you don't think like, oh my god, what is that? No, you right away think that's important. When you see the word ejemplo, you think, well, it kind of looks like example. Oh, it is example, right? But when you see the word cocina, you're like, cook? No, it's a kitchen. But the difference between cocina and importante is that importante you can get it from its appearance. Cocina you cannot. The words that you cannot get from their similarities to English are called non-cognates, and the ones that you can are called cognates. My deck is not focused on the cognate ones. They are focused on the non-cognate ones that you have to learn early on. So if you learn 1000 non-cognate words, the rest is really easy because you know already all the words. So let's here show you how this deck works. You have the word that you have to master. And this deck is also based on frequency and also the I+1 approach, which means that the early on words are going to help you for the later vocabulary sections. So you have tener que. If you know what it means, great, but that's one of the most important words you need to find in Spanish, tener que. That's a grammar structure. You click on show answer and it shows you this different appearance of the deck. Now you have an image that is related to the sentence that you have below. Tengo que estudiar para el examen. I have to study for the exam. You have the translation below, and when you have that sentence, you can hear it. Unfortunately, you cannot hear it, but now you can hear it in the real deck. Then you have the concept that you must master, the translation of the concept, synonyms of the word tener que, and then you have these three sentences. These three sentences are there for you to master the word in context, because it's not only just showing you the word tener que, you need to have some context. So it says tengo que. By learning of this one, this is the most common use of the word tener que. Tengo que, that's the translation. Trabajar, which means to work. Mañana, tomorrow. Oh, I have to work tomorrow. You click on translation and that's it. I have to work tomorrow. These cards are meant for you to learn the word well and with context, so you learn the cards better. You also have the irregular conjugations of the verb in case there is a irregular conjugation, and you have the pronunciation once again of the sentence. All these cards have a purpose, like I said. Hacer is to do, hace frío. Notice that here the example is not just to do, but is the way we normally use it the most frequently when you describe the weather. Hace frío, hacer means to do, to make. Synonyms is elaborate or confectionate, and it says voy a hacer mi tarea ahora. I am going to do my homework now. So you have the translation. This is a specialized deck for you to learn vocabulary. But now, if you say, I don't want to download that deck because it looks too fancy, too good, I don't think I'm going to be able to use it. All right, fair enough. Download the deck, it's going to be really helping you. I'm going to be leaving down the description another deck, and that deck doesn't really have anything in it, it just has two words. But this is the deck that I want to give to you, the viewers, because you have reached to this point. This is my gift for you. This is a template I have created for you. You're just going to import it, and this is how it's going to look like. It's called the Students Deck version 3.0. Now, when you start it, you notice that it's a simpler version, but on close deletion steroids form of the 1000 cards that I have shown you. It has an image, it has a sentence. This is an example sentence I just put on. Carlos tiene una wallet. If you know the word wallet, you have to write cartera, but let's make a mistake. Let's write cartero. And when we write it down, it says Carlos tiene una cartero. No, it's actually una cartera, as you can see here, right? It has the translation. There is a section, you can put the translation. There is a grammar part. You can put an image for that grammar part. In case you have an image that deals with grammar, you can put it there. These flashcards, you can use them with an image or you can use them without an image. So Carlos tiene una puppet de un niño, which in that case is marioneta, if we write it correctly. Anki shows that is written correctly. This template is going to be in the description section. That is my gift for you to have reached this part. Please use it. But if you think that you don't really have the time to make the flashcards, get the 1K that I showed you earlier. Do not get the share decks, please. Get away from that frustration section. Use Anki properly and enjoy it. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you like it. And if you have any question on how to set up Anki, let me know in the comment section and I will be making a video on it. Thank you for watching. Bye.